We are right in the heart of allergy season here in the Bay Area as things are starting to come in bloom. The lawn is turning green, all the trees and hills are starting to change, and right now I'm getting the sniffles. So we are going to change the air filter today on my F150 Lightning, and these filters will work on any of the F150s, Super Duties, 250s, 350s, the Expedition, the Navigator, things that are pretty much made after 2015. And these filters that we're going to go through are some of the most common ones that are out there on the market. We're going to get scientific today, so stick with us as we test the airflow of a couple of these common filters, and we go through and talk about some of the pitfalls and benefits of these filters. And we're going to share with you today one of the secret filters that Ford makes that very few people know about. This is something that was shared with us on one of our podcasts from Robert, one of the insiders at Ford, and few people have ever seen or ordered this filter, and it's a shame because it's one of the best ones out there on the market. So we're going to put it to the test against some of the big boy filters, see how it does. We're going to use some science today, so stick with us. We'll show you here in the front the ones that we're going to start with, and you guys are going to love this episode. So stick with us as we go through these one at a time and share with you which one might be the right choice for your situation. Okay, you join me here in the front of the Lightning, but this could be any of the 2015 or later F-150s, could also be the Navigator or the Expedition, and this same air filter will fit into any of those models. We're going to go through and start off with the stock OEM that this came with. We're going to take the airflow meter here and measure it, both the front seat and the back, because that does matter, especially with kids back there. We're going to use the standard airflow. We're not going to do driver focused. We're going to set it at a starting point of 2. Not going to use auto, and we're not going to go higher because too high of an airflow is going to be too much noise as we record. So I think that's a good starting point where you get enough airflow, and the point is to compare how the airflow changes as we switch through the filters. Then we're going to talk about the benefits of each of these because they are different. We'll also share price points on these as well, so you can compare those. They're all kind of in a range of 25 to 40 bucks. So that really isn't too big of a factor, I don't think. But yeah, we'll talk through all of that together. So let's walk through the choices that we're going to do today. All right, so these are all of the ones that we're going to try today. And I have tried all of these myself going back to my 2022 F-150. And we're going to start with this one. This is the HEPA filter, very popular choice. Everybody knows HEPA, and this is going to have a 4-stage filter, including everything from the advanced charcoal and baking soda. Of course, it's HEPA, so you're talking about a serious level of filtration. So we're going to see what that does in terms of airflow. This is, of course, going to be the most premium of the options. Then we're looking here at K&N. Everybody knows K&N, everything from your ICE vehicle engine air filters. I've had these going all the way back to high school. K&N, very well known, and this one is a washable air filter, and so this is very popular, and one of these things where you buy it once and you clean it out, and it's got a lifetime thing here where you can just clean it and then pop it right back in again. So this is a washable cabin air filter. Again, a very popular choice. We're going to check out the airflow here. And of course, it's not going to have the carbon or the HEPA that this one has. Again, a little bit more expensive than you're talking about with your stock OEM pricing, which is around $25. This one's going to cost you more, but it's reusable. Then we've got our secret here, which is this Motorcraft direct from Ford. This, you'll notice, has a slightly different part number. We'll leave links to all of these, by the way, in the description. But this is FPP92. The stock part number is FP92. This has a little bit extra premium when it comes to the filtration, and I think it's worth the difference. And it's only about $5 or $6 extra. You can also use your Ford points to get these, by the way, if you have them. So we're going to pop this in. We're going to, again, check out the airflow and compare it to what we started with, as well as comparing it to the other two. And then you guys can see what makes sense for you. Some people need the extra HEPA air filtration. Some people don't. Some people want the ability to wash and reuse. Some people don't. Again, it's just about making the right choice for you. But this, again, is something I wanted to throw in there because so few people know about it. So yeah, wanted to put this in there as something you guys got introduced to. So yeah, let's get started. All right, you join me here in the Lightning. I'm on the passenger side because this is where the air filter is located. We are going to show you here in just a moment how to open up and remove that air filter. It is super easy. You're going to love it. First, let's start off by showing you the airspeed and the current situation with the OEM air filter that's in here. Let's flip this around and you will see that we're starting off here as we look at the display on the Lightning. Right here on the fan speed, we've got a starting point of 2. Just a good time to remind you, if you like this kind of content, check out Bo Family EV. Be sure to like and subscribe to this video. That type of stuff really helps the content. If you're on mobile, hit the hype button. That stuff really helps me out. Leave a comment down below about your preferred air filter. That type of engagement really helps the channel. Whether you're a gas F150 owner, a Lightning owner, any other kind of EV enthusiast, any of that kind of stuff, when you share it, really helps the channel. I super appreciate it. Back to the content, let's check it out. So what we're going to do here is take our instrument here and this meter. I'll also leave this if anybody for some reason wants it. I like using this to also measure wind speed when I'm doing different testing. But you can see as we hold it up here, we're getting 4.9 miles per hour on the wind speed. And keep in mind, this will change for different vents, different air vents. In fact, right now we just popped up to 5.1. I'm going to give it the benefit of the doubt and go with the highest wind speed that I capture. So that's 5.1. Now, if I go over to this vent, we might get a different reading. This one you can see drops down to 4.5 is the max we're seeing. And so you can see that different vents are going to give you different air speeds. So I'm going to give it the benefit of the doubt, the one in the center here, which is the one that a lot of people will use. So 5.1 is what I'm going to record. Let's check out the back. As I come to the back area here, it looks like I'm getting about fluctuation oddly between 2.5 and 2.7. Let's take a look at the other one here, the other vent. Oh, interesting. The one on the right, I'm getting 3.1 and 3.3. So I'm going to average that out, and I'm going to go ahead and give it a 3. I think that's a fair number to give it. So let's go with 3, and that'll be our recording for this OEM one. All right, so you can see that there is definitely a reduced airflow between the front air vents and the back, and especially if you've got kids, that's going to be something to consider. And I definitely wanted to take those 2 different measurements so you can see the impact that this air filter exchange will have. So let's take a look at how easy it is to exchange and change out these air filters. I'm going to set the camera here to the side, and hopefully you guys will see just how simple this is to open this up, and you guys will feel comfortable doing this yourself. Okay, so let's walk through just how easy it is to open this up and get to where you remove and replace the air filter. So you're just going to take the glove box and open it up. And then on the left and right side are these little clip areas here and here. You're going to get to them from the outside area and you're going to push in. So just take your hand on either side, push in on them, and this will drop down. As soon as it drops down, you're going to just pull this straight out, super easy. And if you look on here, you're going to see that there are these little clips here, and I even hesitate to call them clips. They're just these kind of areas here, here, and here, and these basically go into these slots that are here, here, and here. And then to put this back when we're done, we're just going to line these 3 areas up, and I just kind of put them right here, and I just kind of give them a little, once I line them up, I give them a little kind of back and forth shake to make sure they feel nice and seated correctly, and then it literally just pushes right in there and you hear it click into place, and it's just that simple. Give it a little test to make sure it's there, and again, like, it's just that easy, right guys? That's as simple as it's going to be. And then to pull it back out again, you push that clip in and you pull it right back out. So we're going to set this to the side and just leave this open so that we can work, and then we're going to pull this air filter out and start testing the other ones. All right, so I think I'm just going to show this process the one time so that you guys can see how it's done. And it's going to be the same thing replicated each time that we swap out the air filter, just because I don't think you need to see that 3 times in a row. And then we'll take the measurement after each swap. So let's take a look at this one and we'll go from there. A couple things to point out here. You've got some wire harnesses here that you might just want to kind of push out of the way, make sure it doesn't catch on anything. There's also a wire harness here on the right-hand side. So just some things to be aware of. There's a clip down here on the lower right, a clip down on the lower left that's just going to kind of go into the slot. There's nothing to release here. These will just release naturally on their own. The one that you're really going to want to deal with is going to be the clip on the right and the clip on the left. I always start with the left first. When you do the left first, the other ones release pretty easily. So I'm going to reach over here and release the left-hand side first, and that just kind of pulls out. And as I pull that one out, you see this opens up, right? And now that those are released, this just kind of lifts up. You see that? Comes right out. And there is your air filter. Take a note here that you see it's got an arrow, says air down. Make sure you know that, right? Because you want to make sure that you look at every air filter that we swap out, and it's going to have that same direction. And you want to make sure, hopefully, that captures it and focuses. Each air filter will show you the down arrow so that you know which side it is that you need to put that direction. That's super important. You don't want to put it in the wrong way, okay? So let's pull this out and let's put in our first replacement filter, and then we're going to put this back on and take our measurements. We'll do this for each air filter, but we're not going to show you this each time, just in the interest of you guys probably not needing to see this. It's the same procedure. So let's pull this out. Okay, so our first test is going to be with the PureFlow HEPA filter. Again, this has the charcoal and the HEPA. You're going to see here as we take a look that it's got this cool blue look to it. It feels substantially heavier. If this matters, it is made in China versus the OEM one you can see is made in the USA. Again, substantially lighter, I will say, which is probably to be expected considering, again, this has the HEPA layers of filtration and the charcoal, all of that kind of stuff in there. This is a substantially more robust air filter. Again, you can see the arrows showing you which direction to place it in there. So let's show you placing this inside, and then we'll throw that cover back on and we'll do our testing. All right, so we're going to slide this one right back where the original one was, being careful about the wiring that is again around there. This will pop right back into the same spot, and then we will take the cover, and again, just being careful with the wires, those two slots there at the bottom for the cover, these will pop it right in there. And then again, you've got this wire harness here on the right hand side. Again, try to put those clips in there, try to lift that right there into position, try to give it a little bit of a wiggle, and just try to get it to pop right back into place. And you can try to get it, if you just kind of move it in just the right spot, it will typically pop nice and easy. Just got to get it. There it goes. Pop right there. Pop right there. And you'll get a feel for that the more times that you do it. And it's pretty simple. And then you just put, again, the glove box right back into place. So super simple. Let's turn the fans on and get some testing done of the wind speed. Okay, once again, we're going to turn our fan speed up to number 2. You can see here that when I go here, you can see I've got the fan going everywhere. Let's turn heat off. That shouldn't be on. You can see I don't have my AC on and not driver focused. So there, that is the same setting I had before. Now we're going to take our meter and we're just going to hold it up to the vent. And let's see what we have here as far as our maximum airflow. And here we have 2.9 fluctuating to 3.1. And then let's check out our right side. And our right side is going to be 2.0. So you can see right away with the HEPA filter, you've got some reduced airspeed here. It's actually almost like the rear airspeed from the stock OEM air filter. So our max speed here is looking out of the center vent, and you're looking at a 2.9. I mean, even if I'm giving it the benefit of the doubt, you're looking at a little bit of a fluctuation there to 3.1, but I've got a nice steady 2.9 is the best I'm kind of seeing as a steady speed. So, man, maybe if I want to be polite, I'll give it a 3. What do you think, guys? Let me know in the comments if I'm being overly generous or too harsh. I'll tell you what, I'm going to round it up to 3 just to be polite. Let's give it a 3 here with the HEPA filter. But again, that's the same as the rear speed we got with the OEM one. So I'm going to log this as a 3. Now, as we jump to the back here, you're going to see this is where we really take the impact. We're down to a 1.3 on this vent. And if I recall, the one on the right is going to show some better performance. So let's go to the right. And this one is actually going to show 1.3, 1.6. 1.8. So I tell you what, we'll go 1.5. We're going to average this to a 1.5. So cutting it in half, basically half the airflow with the HEPA. So 1.5 will be the number. So that's the thing. You're going to lose some of that airflow. Now keep in mind we're only at a 2, so that just means you have to increase your airspeed. But in the harsh winters, that means you need to go with a higher setting to keep the warmth. And in the harsh summers, again, more airflow to get it cooled off. This is going to impact a bit your energy and your efficiency. So depending on what climate you live in, this is an indicator of something you may want to consider. Maybe you even want to swap the air filter during certain seasons when you need it, and in the mild parts of the year, maybe it's something you want to use then. But in the deepest of winter, maybe you, when you don't need the HEPA filter, maybe you want to swap it back out. Or same thing in the deepest, hottest parts of the summer, maybe you want to swap it out. Just things to consider, because you're definitely going to take an airflow reduction if you're using HEPA, and maybe you need it for the allergies. And if you don't, but you need the airflow, that's again just a balance of consideration. But let me know what you think. What would your choice be on that airflow versus filtration? Okay, next on the list is the K&N washable air filter. Couple unique things about this. Of course, the obvious is that it's washable. So you're going to buy it once and then be able to wash it out and reuse it. That's super awesome. Now, there is something else that's unique, which is that it does not matter which way you install this. Now, for my own OCD, for whatever that's worth, which is really nothing because it, again, doesn't matter. But for me, you'll notice that on one side, it is more flat than the other. This side has a little bit of a kind of a 1/2 inch lip to it. So in my, primate brain, which again, it really doesn't scientifically matter, because that does have the lip, and that reminds me of kind of the lip that the other ones have, and this is flat, and the other ones have kind of a flat side. I am going to put the flat side as the down arrow side, and I'm going to put that little bit of a lip as the kind of lip side. So that is just my own personal preference. So when you open this up and you see no down arrows, it truly doesn't matter. So for me, I'm going to go with this way as the downside. But again, I just doesn't matter. So we're going to throw that in. We're going to do the test. We're going to see the numbers. Let's go. I did leave out that this was also made in America, by the way. Once again, we will verify the fan speed is set to 2, the air conditioner is off, and that we've got our airflow set to all of here. Make sure the heat is off, everything else is good, no driver focus, and again, all set there. And don't forget, like and subscribe. Let's check out the measurements. Here we go. We're going to start with the driver's center, and we're showing here a 5.4 miles per hour right here on the center one. And that's nice and steady, no real fluctuations on that. And then we're gonna kick over here to the right hand side, and that one is showing, see if I can get the glare out of the way, a 4.5. So we're gonna go with the stronger of the two, which as always is the one in the center. Let's check out if it's the same here in the back. And back here, you've got a 2.5. And again, we notice that the right side did better than the left. So let's see if the right side shows the same here. And it does. Looks like actually popping up there. Yeah, 3.3. Yeah, so we're going to average the two again. You know, you got that 3.3 over there. And then over here, you know, you got that 3.5 or whatever, or 2.5, sorry. Yeah, and I just think, you know, because it was fluctuating, there you see it again going up to 3.6. I'm just like, say, I'm going to do the same thing I did with the OEM one. I'm just going to call that a 3. So there we go. This one is electrostatically charged and that kind of thing. So a little bit different manner of filtration in order to get the pollen and dust and that kind of stuff removed. So different way that they go about it instead of the layers of filtration. So yeah, it's just a matter of picking which way you prefer. Again, the real value here being that you can then wash it and reuse it. A little bit higher price, but really it pays for itself in 2 uses. So that's pretty quick. What do you guys think? Would you go with the type that you can reuse? Have you done it before? What did you think? Did it work? Did it not work? Let me know. Let's check out the next one. All right, and our final filter test is the little known FPP92. This has the added active carbon and a little bit of finer filtration to it for not that much more money. So we're going to check and see what it does in terms of any reduced airflow. We saw that we didn't see any with the K&N filter, so that was a good sign. Will we see any with this like we did with the HEPA filter? So it's not as robust as the HEPA. So let's compare the airflow reduction, if any, to the stock OEM and the K&N. Let's see how it does. I'm definitely excited to see the difference. Let's check it out together. When we look at the actual filter itself, you will see we're back to the standard kind of look and feel. And let's flip this around. When we see it, we do get that arrow indication of which direction to place it. And this one is made in Mexico, if that matters to you. So let's get it in the truck and check it out. Okay, as before, we are going to set our fan speed to 2. We are going to verify that our airflow is going in all directions. We're going to get that heat off, make sure that there is no AC, and we are going to turn on our meter and check our airspeed. So let's take a look at what we have. So right here, we've got a 4.9 is looking like what we're seeing, 4.9 miles per hour. Make sure there's no glare there. So slight reduction, I would say, slight, but not a lot. 4.9 is respectable. A little fluctuation to 4.7. Not quite getting to 5, but 4.9. Let's see what we've got on the right-hand side. We should see a little bit of a drop there, and we are seeing a drop. This one goes down to 3.6. So 3.3, 3.8. There's a 4. So there's a 4 right there. But yeah, looks like we're seeing a little bit of a reduction with this one. Not dramatic, but definitely noticeable with a 4.9. So we are going to log that down, and let's go to the back and check that out. All right, so maybe that's the impact of the active carbon. You do see a little bit of a reduction here in the back. You can see we're getting a steady 2.5 coming out here in the rear on the left side. We know that the left does reduce a bit and compared to the right. Let me know if that's something unique to my truck or if you guys see that. But we got a 2.5. Let's see what we get on the right. So as we come over here on the right side, I'm getting a 2.7, 2.9. If I can get the glare out of there. Yeah, 2.9. 2.9 out of the right and a 2.5. Yeah, so even as high as 3.1. So I think if I'm going 3.1, 3, yeah, 2.9, then a 2.5. So let's call it, I don't know. What do you think, guys? A 2.7? I think we're kind of nitpicking or whatever. But yeah, so we saw 3 with the OEM and the K&N, and maybe we'll call this 2.7, 2.8. I'll just throw it down as a, yeah, let's call it a 2.8. That makes sense. A little bit of a reduction we saw with that active carbon. So we'll call it a 2.8 back here. You could quibble about that. Maybe it's a 2.75. So I was never good at math. Anyway, that's our numbers. We'll throw that all in together in a chart for our recap. And let's wrap this up. Hopefully you found this testing and data informative, and if you want to check out these items for yourself, I will leave links in the description below. And if you find this kind of stuff enjoyable, check out my other videos, including the one following this one. Don't forget to hype this up if you're on mobile. Leave a comment below. It really helps my channel grow. Liking, subscribing, all those things. I really appreciate it. It means a lot to me and the family, and we love your support. It means a lot, definitely, and helps small channels and content creators get out there and afford to do projects like this. All these filters and the equipment do cost money, so your help and support sharing it on the forums and the groups, all of that goes a long way. So thanks for joining us. We will see you on the next one.